Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One. It is Monday, April 30th, the last day of the month, the year 2018. Let's talk trading. Your last trade. Those of you who've been watching my videos and reading my forum posts over the years, decades now, I guess, almost, probably know that I say or have quoted the phrase or thought that English is a very imprecise language, and people use English imprecisely, which only compounds the problem. So, for example, I subtitled this video, Your Last Trade. What does that mean? Does it mean the trade right before the one you were in? Or does it mean your last trade ever? Well, or maybe it means both. Think about it. The trade that you're in could be your last trade ever. Why? Well, maybe you take your dirt nap, never come back. In other words, you've passed on, gone to the other side, or like we say, we insert, you're dead. Or maybe it's not that bad, but maybe somehow that last trade wiped you out. Something to consider. Why would I bring that up? Well, whenever you do something, it could be the last time you do it. So you might want to give it your all. I mean, you might want to really be there, be focused, be into what it is you're doing. I mean, the last time you see somebody, your friend, I mean, did you have a meaningful conversation? Or was it, yeah, hey, how you doing? Yeah, okay. And then, the next thing you know, you read about them in the newspaper. That actually happened to me decades ago. But what's that got to do with trading? Well, we always talk about focus, paying attention, and I like to talk about money management. That's a big part of it. You want to make sure you use money management and risk management so this trade is not your last trade. But just know that every trade has the potential to be your last trade for one or more of the reasons I just mentioned. So when you're trading, be there. Don't be distracted. Really focus in. Now, that's hard for me. I'm going to have to just fess up. It's hard for me just to sit there and trade. I mean, I have, two screens going, a chat room. I got, I'm writing down notes. I've got other tabs open. And, I break that rule most every time I trade. But every now and then I really get focused into it. I mean, sitting there, watching everything. But really, maybe if your trading system style method might allow you to predetermine a few things. So you're just merely watching for the anomalies. So maybe you're not really focused on the trade because you've already set up your stop loss. You've already entered your take profit. And you're just there just to make sure something crazy doesn't happen. I mean, actually, once you put in your stop loss and TP on most systems, you can turn off the computer and whatever the market does, the market does. Sometimes though you might miss an opportunity. I mean, that's the big thing when you're trading. You know, people spend so much time trying to find that next trade. So after all that time and effort, the stars align. All your parameters have been met. Your criteria for entering the trade have been met. And if you're not paying attention, you miss it. Or you miss something and to exit. And then you let a winner, maybe it's just a small winner, become a loser. Knock out your stop loss. And then you're kicking yourself for not taking those 2 pips. And then you look, Harry hindsight says, well, you see, that there's the reason why you should have exited. So let's try to make sure that, this is the last day of the month, but let's make sure it's not your last trading day of forever. Okay, here we go. Looking at the dollar yen, we can see it's clearly in last week's wick zone, but let's zoom out to the month. Wow, look at that. Wouldn't that have been nice to take that breakout? Oh yeah, Harry hindsight. But I mean, price action. It's kind of a reversal signal, a turn trade. I've talked about that before. So, these opportunities are there. You just have to take advantage of them. And going back to the week chart, you can see we've got one gap that didn't fill with the euro, New Zealand dollar. These New Zealand pairs haven't filled the gap. Here's one that did. So there's something going on there. Look at that opportunity. Oh, it looks like it's signaling something here. Oh, there's one in the wick zone. That's a huge wick. There you go. Signals. Just simple things. I mean, if all you waited for was the break of a previous candle, high or low, and just take that quote unquote breakout trade, are you going to win every time? No. Let's just get real. But you can see there's a potential to win huge on some of these trades. But that's hairy hindsight, right? But we know that going in. So is it hindsight, or did you act or did you fail to act? And we drop down to the day, and we can see here that the dollar yen is clearly in the wick zone right now. Will it come out the bottom? Will it come out the top? Daily range, you see we've got 3 here. And we got the Australian. Now we got Euro Canadian, Pound Australian, and Pound New Zealand. And we've got the beast here, Pound Yen at 100. Let's see, has to exceed 100 for it to alert. But so far today, these ranges are probably small. They look kind of small. I think I'll have to look at that average range setup. And here we have the buy zone. A nice trigger there. Maybe you stopped out, maybe you didn't. And then here we had another trigger, and you can see what's happened since then. A hairy hindsight, it entered that hourly wick zone and came out the other side. Hairy hindsight. You gotta love that guy. Okay, we only have 43 pip range. Not much for the rats today. But what was that? Was it? Yeah, here we go. 148. Look at that rat right there. That red rat is getting fat. Look at him go. You see, these opportunities happen every day. Just have to be there. And we can look at the pivot point traders. As you can see here, we have the open, we have the pivot, see price go from open to pivot. Now, does that happen every day? No, we've got some open pivots. And there's one right there. And there's another one right there. So there was a few misses on this run of the yen. Price action, right at the line. We've got selling going on. It's just clear as day. Oh, and by the way, for those of you who donated, I shipped out batch 3 on, or 3A on Friday. Once again, because of all the political things I've been involved in, my time is really chopped up. It's, it's no excuse. That's just the way it is. So things will get back into balance in a week or two for sure, and I'll be back on top of things. But I hope you've enjoyed this indicator. You cranked it up either yesterday or today. And here, let me just let's see the spread dots indicator here. And if you want to get this, you turn the training wheels history to true, and then you say how many you want in the history. Do you want 10? You can have 1. If you just want the current line, you can have as many as fits on the screen. And if you need one smaller lettering, just come down here and you can fit even more. And once again, this number here is number of ticks in that state. So you see we had 7 ticks in the waiting state. We've already got 5 in the buying. Now we've got 3 back in the waiting. And so now we have selling happening because the ask fell below the peak. Now you can see the ask is above the peak. The bid is below the valley, so we're in a wait state. Yep, now we're in a buying state and back to waiting. So you can see how things shift. And remember, if you hit F9, function key 9, you get the tick chart that comes with MT4. And you can see right here how, but it's kind of hard to see where that real peak is and where the real valley is, except for right there. You can see that price jumped above the peak. And see right there, it jumped above the peak, and we've got buying again. Because it is my theory, price can't go up if the bid is below the valley, and price doesn't come down if the ask is above the peak here. So, simple concept. It just makes sense. It's just basically playing the high and lows in the moment on the tick chart. Daily lines, you can see here what's happened at these daily previous session lines, previous days lines. Wick zone, we can see prices in it. The holo zone, there was an opportunity there. Good for about 5 pips at the moment. And here you can see the tick chart indicator in action, showing you the history of each tick, time in sales. So, fellow traders, let's see. Here we go again using a line chart. And I think we've got the IRB, RHIRB lines. You can see where profit and could have been made in hindsight, right, Harry? Anyway, fellow traders, just remember, try not to make this trade your last trade, because it's not what you trade. It's how you trade it. TheRumpledOne, off to drain the banks.